All right, boys, we're recording. Finally. Welcome to Hydro and Co. This is a big episode for us. NFL draft episode. We're going to be doing a mock draft, and I'll have Kendall help me explain that just a little bit here in a second. But I just want to make a couple things clear. This is Tuesday, April 25th, 9:05 p.m. So if some shenanigans happen in the next 48 hours between now and Thursday, know that we didn't know it. Uh, I don't know if anything will happen between now and the actual day of the draft, but crazier shit's definitely happened. So keep that in mind. Also, I think it's gonna be a really cool episode. We're gonna be doing a mock draft in a pretty cool way. What we're gonna be doing is we're gonna have each team is picked by one of us. One through I think there's only 31 picks, so 1 through 31, right? So I'll let Kendall explain how the pick, like how we selected who picks where, and then we'll move on from there.
Yeah, so what I did was I just spun a wheel. There's four of us, so picks 1 through 4, spun a wheel, and it eliminated everybody. You know how wheels work. Then picks 5 through 8, same thing. 9 through 12, same thing. So on and so forth. And I did it in a way that we could all get to pick for our favorite team. So I'll pick for the Raiders. Wyatt will pick for the Saints. Chase and Bryce will each get one of the Eagles' picks.
Which works out perfect. Both Eagles fans get to pick for their team. So, with that being said, I guess we can go ahead and get into the groove here. If you're looking at the screen to the left, we have the mock draft pulled up, so you're going to be able to keep track of who we're picking.
Good
And
birds.
we'll announce who's picking what. What'd you say, Chase?
Go birds.
Oh, who dat?
Raider Nation, baby.
Until next time, boys.
Oh, yeah, no, but but we'll go ahead and get started. So with the first pick in the Hydro and Co draft, Mr. Hydro himself is on the clock. Uh, to me, looking at this pick from Carolina's perspective, I hate this team, and I wish nothing but this pick to bust. And why not pick someone who has a potential bust scenario? So I'm going to be picking C.J. Stroud here. Uh, the big reason beyond the, I'm not saying that I want him to bust. Yes, C.J. Stroud going to
Congrats
Carolina.
to the
I think,
dumbass. Congratulations.
yeah. So if you haven't heard, his Wonderlic score is bottom 18th percentile. So someone like Bryce Young, he scored like 98% on that motherfucker. Bryce Young's a little too small for me. I know the defenses in the NFC South, and whoever the quarterback for the Carolina Panthers is going to need to get fucked up constantly. So you need a guy with some size, and I think he's got a talented arm. Maybe needs to hit the playbook a little bit longer than maybe one of the other quarterbacks in the draft, but I think his talent speaks for itself, and I think he has the potential to be a really solid quarterback. And if you're Carolina, I think this is your guy. And yeah, so we'll move on.
So this is my pick with the Houston Texans. I think this pick, me, this pick can go two different ways. It depends on what the organization is looking for. But I'm just going to take the safe pick here, and I think the Houston Texans are running this ticket up to the podium, and I think it's going to be Bryce Young,
Oh,
very good quarterback. The only thing with him, the
your
only
toothpick.
yeah, that's about it. The only thing that kid has a knock on is his size, and I mean, he's got a good arm. He recognizes coverage as well. He's a winner. It's a high floor, even high ceiling, I believe.
Yep. And also a high risk for injury because he's so small. Next, I pick on the Cardinals. Uh, this one, I got two options really. It's the two right here: Will Anderson or Jalen Carter. I'm gonna take Will Anderson because I think he's the best player on the board. His college production is there. Uh, I mean, and he's gonna be a stud in the NFL. I think Jalen Carter will be as well, but I don't know if the offseason troubles will knock him down. So for that reason, I'm gonna take the safe pick and Will Anderson.
All right. Well, with the fourth pick, the Colts are now on the clock, and everybody knows the Colts. They've been shuffling through quarterbacks the last 4 years. They went from Andrew Luck. He retired right before the season. They've had Phillip Rivers. They had Matt Ryan. They've had Carson Wentz. So I feel like this is a pretty obvious quarterback pick here. And with the two big ones off the board already, Will Levis's stock has been rising a lot the last couple days, really over the last few weeks. So I think they go Will Levis. He's got a cannon of an arm. He's just got to learn how to control it. And they got some decent enough weapons in Indianapolis to where he could potentially succeed. So I'm going to go with Levis there.
All right, next up.
So I got the Seattle Seahawks here, and the Houston Texans here. Seattle has defensive line, and they are ecstatic that Jalen Carter has fell to them, and I think this is where they're going to go. The off-season troubles, that's a big question, his character, but I think you can take it two different ways as a college player who has off-season troubles, stuff, legal troubles, stuff like that. Either you can take it and learn from it, or you go the other route. And I think once you hit an NFL locker room full of grown men, you start to learn from them. And I think Seattle can start to build their franchise back up from Jalen Carter.
All right. 6 at the Lions. I think this pick right here is a prime candidate for a trade back because none of their needs will be filled with people left on the board. However, there are no trades in this draft, so I will go best player available, and in my opinion, it is going to be Devin Witherspoon. Feel like he'll be cornerback of the future there. Give them another Darius Slay, but hopefully he sticks with them and changes the organization. But that's what I'm going to go with. Another safe pick, but it is what it is.
All right. So the first pick of our favorite teams is now on the clock. And I was really hoping one of them three quarterbacks that already got drafted would have fell, and I would have taken them because I'm not the highest on Anthony Richardson. So I'm not going to take him personally. I'm going to do a classic Raiders move, drop down here, just for a strictly team need, desperately need a corner. So I'm going to pick a guy that's projected late first round, Joey Porter Jr., right there at 7. Because I personally would like that because we need a corner, and I watched the Penn State-Ohio State game, and he was actually competing with Marvin Harrison Jr. whenever they were going head-to-head. So I like Joey Porter Jr. a lot.
All right. So I have Atlanta here at 8. So my rationale going through this list with Atlanta was I was going to go corner at first, but with Witherspoon and Porter off, there's still an opportunity to pick Christian Gonzalez, and I think that could be a potential way they go. But I don't. Defensive line on the edge is definitely something they could look into as well. But with Jalen Carter gone, I don't really see the point in picking this high. So I'm going to go to another need that they really need. With this team to be successful long term, they need some more threats on the offensive side of the ball. And where they pick at, they could really go ahead and get that guy for the future. And Drake London, pair him up on the side. Especially with Kyle Pitts underperforming, they need that weapon to come out and play solid. So I'm going to take Jackson Smith and Njigba here to go to Atlanta and tear defenses up in the NFC South for years to come.
It's a good pick. Good pick right there. So now the Bears, after trading down from 1, everybody should know about that if you're watching this. I feel like they're looking at this and they're strictly saying best player available either on the offensive line or any defensive position that's maybe not linebacker. That's probably what they're thinking because they still have a lot of holes. So with that being said, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his last name, but I'm taking Peter, tackle from Northwestern.
I love me some Peter, man. I understand. All right. All right.
Get
My
Justin
pick,
Fields some protection.
exactly. My pick here. I got the Birds with what's left on the board. There's a running back that
Man,
I think would be very beneficial to the Eagles. It would definitely solidify them as the top offense in the NFL. Um, that's very exciting. Um, so with my pick, I want to pick Christian Gonzalez, cornerback from Oregon, um, because fucking running
but
back at 10, and give me somebody who's going to be a playmaker for years to come, and will definitely fill that void when Darius Slay and James Bradbury ultimately move on.
you did there, Chase.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So I got the Titans at 11. Originally, if Jackson Smith and Jigba is on the board here, this is where they have to go. They have no weapons for whoever's going to play quarterback there, and it doesn't seem like they believe in Malik Willis too much. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and take Anthony Richardson, and we're going to shoot for the stars here in Tennessee. Very, very high ceiling, but we got low, low floor. He's got a cannon for an arm, size. He just needs to learn to control the
Play
football.
quarterback.
He needs to learn, but that kid's got all the makings to be a top quarterback in the league.
All right. So, with Anthony Richardson off the board, we'll go to one of the rivals in the side of this division who already has a quarterback that's drafted with the Texans. So the rationale of this pick here, it's a little off the path, I would guess. Because when I look at this team and I see now that Bryce Young's with the Texans, you got to start addressing both sides of the offensive defensive line. But for me, specifically with a quarterback of that size, I'm really wanting to get the offensive line right. And they have some good pieces. So, I mean, they have Laramie Tunsil on the left side, and they have Kenyon Green, who's played solid. And they got some veterans in Shaq Mason and Titus Howard on the right side. But I don't like who they have at center. So I'm going to pick a center here, and I'm going to pick John Michael Schmitz out of Minnesota. Big dude, 300 pounds, 6'3.5", 6-year senior. But he plays a really good center. He's one of the best center. He is probably the best center prospect in this year's draft. And you pair it up with a young quarterback. I think you got your franchise center here for a long time. He plays in Minnesota, obviously. I mean, that says a lot of just about how the grit. Those Midwestern schools always seem to produce good offensive linemen. Minnesota not being an exception to that rule, but I mean, he's a strong guy. He's one of the best centers in the draft, and he's a late first round pick projection. But I feel like if you're the Texans, you either go center or you go guard, and I feel like you could probably move him to guard as well. So, but with Shaq Mason there, that would probably be the only other offensive line spot I would replace somebody with. And with the defensive line picks kind of not great up until the late first round, I would go ahead and take somebody that can be a day one starter at the NFL level. So that's what I got.
That might be the
Yes.
first surprising move of the draft.
Yes.
Yes.
So my pick here from the Packers. And wait, was this for the Aaron Rodgers trade?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. As you can see, their needs are quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, defensive line, and safety. Brian Branch isn't worth the pick this high. We're not going to go safety. There's not a quarterback or a wide receiver there right now. Excuse me, sir. And so what we have left? We got Nolan Smith and Miles Murphy. I think Nolan Smith is a better prospect, so the Green Bay Packers will select Nolan Smith with their 13th overall pick, the 2023 NFL Draft.
All right. So the Patriots are up next, and they just lost their only somewhat solid weapon in Jacoby Myers to the Raiders. So
Oh yeah.
I feel like it's pretty obvious that they're looking for a weapon here, regardless if they think it's a reach or not. Whether that be wide receiver or tight end, I don't know. But I'm going to do a very Patriot-like pick here, and I'm going to take Michael Mayer out of Notre Dame, tight end. That just seems like the most Bill Belichick New England Patriot pick of all time, right there.
Good pick. That's a really
And
good
that's
pick.
another thing. The tight end class in this year's draft is very deep, and
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people are talking about it.
Deep.
It's very good.
So that brings me to the Jets. What I'm gonna do with this, their tackles really worked out. Back then, can't seem to stay healthy. You have to have somebody who's going to keep Aaron Rodgers upright. Man's old. You want any success in that team, you have to keep Aaron Rodgers healthy. So, with that being said, I'm going to take Paris Johnson Jr. State.
The
The
6'7", 300.
a pure
Very
meat.
quick on his feet. Good player. Real good.
All right. Well, I have Washington up next. So this pick's a little weird in a way because how we've picked the draft so far has really hurt them in terms of their team needs. The top corners are already off the board, and the top linebackers already off the board too. The next linebacker is like a projected second or third round pick. So this really only leaves one need, and that's offensive line. And Paris Johnson was going to be my pick, and the Jets unfortunately selected him, which leaves me with a pick that I like, but wasn't going to pick initially. He was definitely a second option, but Broderick Jones out of Georgia. Get the next best tackle off the board. Get the best selection that one of your team needs. When you're the Washington like this, you got a new ownership team in town. You want to make the right pick here, and with how your offense is set up weapon wise, there isn't a whole lot of places where you can add value that you already don't have. And I think this is a safe pick for him. Georgia Georgia tackle at 6'5". I mean, that's always a great size
I don't
offensive
know.
lineman to have.
I don't know if you guys watched a lot of Georgia's games this year, but Arthur Jones jumped out on tape just for the sheer fact when it comes to the run game, that dude murders people. Man, he kills people in the run game.
And that'll definitely be something good with the new. They got the running back by committee in Washington, but with Brian Robinson hopefully getting to play a full year after last year, it'll be great to have a young mauler at the tackle spot. So I think it's a good spot for this new ownership in Washington. You make the best of your situation. Picking at 16 here, you've lost a lot of really solid prospects up until this point that you could probably add to your roster. I could see them trading up, honestly, but we'll see what happens.
All right, with the next pick, that brings me to the Pittsburgh Steelers. In my opinion, they could go one of two ways here. They could either go offensive line, so pretty much Darnell Wright at this point, or they could go corner and secondary. They just signed Patrick Peterson, so he could be a good mentor to Deontay Banks out of Maryland, maybe teach him some pointers, help him out. So I'm actually going to take Deontay Banks and thought of Patrick Peterson can mentor him a little bit.
It's a good pick.
Good pick.
All right, I'm back on the clock with the Detroit Lions. So they're in a weird spot too, where I think there's really only one position of need that they can address without reaching. That's defensive line. So I got them picking Lucas Van Ness out of Iowa, edge rusher for them. 6'5", 270. He's tall. He's only 21 years old, so he's really young as well. So you have a lot of 21 entering the league. I mean, fuck. He's about to be 22, but 4.5 40-yard dash. So I mean, he's last year at Iowa he had 10.5 tackles for loss and 6 sacks. So you really hope that he's going to come in and just be a solid piece in a team that's just trying to get better year after year. I don't think this is going to be a pick that's just he's not going to be the best player in this draft, but you go make a player that's going to be able to sit in your defensive line rotation and get solid snaps day in and day out. So I think it's more of a project for him, but I definitely think he could be a solid player.
Good pick. So this brings me to Tampa Bay, and man, that team has started to regress just within a couple of years. Whoever's going to play quarterback, no idea. I assume it's Baker Mayfield. But first thing you need to do with a rebuilding team is, in my belief, build from the trenches. Since there's a lot of offensive tackles gone, and it's still a little high to draft a guard. I'm going to take Darnell Wright out of Tennessee. 6'5", 330, big dude. Had a real good year last year. Didn't let up. He was about Tennessee's offensive line wasn't great considering Hendon Hooker got hurt, but he was the one bright spot in their offensive line. He played real solid last year.
All right. Seahawks. All right. So, they their needs are guard, a center, and defensive line. And we've heard this before.
They already had a pick in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
So they took Jalen Carter, or we took Jalen Carter.
So guess what? They're going to add somebody else to that defensive line. Miles Murphy.
Good God.
You're going to have a new interior defensive lineman, and you're going to have an edge rusher. 2 young studs, and that's going to be scary. That's going to be scary. If that happens, the Seahawks win the draft.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
All right. So, as you can see, the Dolphins forfeited their pick at 20.
Yeah.
I guess it's supposed to be 21, but moving from there, I'm back on the clock with the Chargers. How I look at this pick for me is their big positions for need are wide receiver, defensive line, and tight end. I think with the pick that Chase just made, picking on the defensive line at this point is just kind of out of the cards for them, and they should really focus on their offense and getting some depth. There's a couple wide receivers in this draft that I think could go, and the one I'm not going to pick the one that I'm thinking about picking because it'd be a definite reach at this point. I think they could probably get him in the second round, but I'm going to pick the second best wide receiver on the board. I'm going to go with Jordan Addison out of USC. West Coast guy, stays in the West Coast, going from USC to LA. So he'll be a great addition to that already good wide receiver core.
Yeah, if they could somehow get Jordan Addison, that offense would be insane.
I will say I almost picked Jalen Hyatt just so they could get a speed guy over the top because Mike Williams always seems to get hurt, but Jordan Addison is a can't miss prospect right there at 21. So I think if you're the Chargers, if for some reason you can't get a top receiver at 21, waiting until the second round and getting a guy like Jalen Hyatt is a definite possibility.
All right. Well, I'm up next with the Baltimore Ravens, and very similar to the Patriots, like I was trying to stay realistic, the Ravens have a history of not wanting to get Lamar Jackson playmakers. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm not going to get him a playmaker. I'm going to go with the typical Baltimore Ravens pick, and I'm going to go with Tyree Wilson out of Texas
Dude,
Tech.
how did he fall down
for more
in the draft this far?
I don't know. His rank was 28th, and his ADP was 12 on here.
That's
so
crazy.
I think that's your typical Baltimore Ravens pick right there. It's just take a defensive or like a edge or defensive lineman. So
Well,
give me Tyree
they
Wilson.
hit a home run with that pick if that ever happened.
Yeah, I know.
So that brings me to
I
the
guess
Minnesota Vikings. So, biggest need I see for this team is defense. Secondary is kind of suspect. Patrick Peterson's gone. Out of your top corners off the board, this brings me to Emmanuel Forbes from Mississippi State. Uh,
Motherfucker.
lengthy corner. Uh, is a he's a ball hawk. I can't remember. He had 6 picks last year. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's good in all 14 picks and 6 touchdowns. 6 of those were pick sixes. Kid's a ball hawk. 6'1". He's a little light in the ass. He's a little skinny. You get him to an NFL weight room, and we'll see what happens. But we're going to go Emmanuel Forbes.
Damn. That was my pick. All right. I need a guard, a center, an edge rusher, and a DB. The DB that I wanted is gone. The edge rusher that I'm looking at right now that wouldn't be a reach is not worth it because he would be a reach. So we'll move on to guard. I'm going to pick Osiris Torrance from Florida.
Good pick.
Yeah, you know, we're getting lucky. At least I'm getting lucky because the couple like the top like 5, 6 players available fit right in the need. So yeah, happy day.
All right. So got the New York Giants up next. They went out and traded for Darren Waller, but we're going to go out and give Darren Waller some help out on the edge. Try to take a little bit of pressure off of him. So we're going to take Quentin Johnston out of TCU. The New York Giants desperately need a wide receiver.
Okay.
We know this pick right here. Go.
All right.
Break Bryce's heart.
I'm the Dallas Cowboys. So looking at this, they need a running back. They need defensive line. Linebacker and corner are out of the question here. And with defensive line, I really feel like there's some veteran moves that they can make in free agency and in the early season with roster cuts and stuff to fill that spot. I feel like this isn't the position they need the most,
No.
but it is Jerry Jones being Jerry Jones,
Yes,
so they're going to pick
sir.
Bijan Robinson here.
Yes, sir.
And I think it just shows again how much they just want to fuck with all what's his name over there in Dallas, Tony Pollard. They just want to fuck with him, bring another running back in, just be in the committee with him again.
I would legit hate that for Tony Pollard.
That would be a nightmare for an Eagles fan.
It'll be all right. It'll be all right.
Sweet.
We got our running back.
Penny, if you can get Bijan Robinson.
I would legit hate that for Tony Pollard. It looks like he's finally getting his shot, and then boom, Jerry Jones steps in, takes Bijan. He'll be the starter.
Big old middle finger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this brings me to Bills, and this is also gonna fucking hurt me too. But if Bijan's off the board, the Bills need. They are going to go with Jahmyr Gibbs.
Damn. Refresh my memory. Did the Bengals ever replace the Jesse Bates?
I don't think so.
I'll look it up real quick.
Because I can't remember who they signed.
If Nick Scott and Dax Hill are a replacement, then yes.
Yeah.
But
Alright,
so the answer is no.
Give me Brian Branch. Safety. Alabama. They need a safety. That's my explanation.
All right, baby. The Saints are on the clock. Oh, we have multiple needs, none of which I feel like are on the offensive side of the ball currently. They say we have guard and center, but our guard and center play is not a problem with this team. Maybe some depth pieces, but this isn't an issue that we really need. I really hope we don't go receiver here. I have a feeling that we could, based on if Zay Flowers is still available. Uh, there's a lot of talk about Dalton Kincaid going to us. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to stick with Jawan Johnson because I feel like our biggest need is defensive line. At defensive tackle, especially, we've struggled, and we just need a big guy up front. So I'm gonna go Kalijah Cansey
Son
from
of a
Pittsburgh,
bitch.
and just add another guy into that. We added some offseason additions at a defensive line, but why not bring a young guy in to compete? Maybe work his way up to starting at least a share of snaps going into his rookie year. So
You know what? I like that pick for y'all, Wyatt. It's a really good pick. But, Chase, I'm going to throw us a curveball here real quick, man. So,
real quick,
Darnell Washington?
just to get an idea of how loaded y'all's roster is. It says y'all's number one team need on Pro Football Focus is wide receiver, and y'all have AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. I guess they mean slot receiver, maybe. But
Yeah.
Devontae Smith can play a damn good slot.
yeah, I think we want to keep Smitty on there. But this is going to bring me to this. I listened to a podcast a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about a team need that is going unnoticed for the Philadelphia Eagles. You have Dallas Goddard, but we run a lot of 12 personnel, and you have nobody behind him. Nobody behind Dallas Goddard. So this is going to bring me to probably the unicorn of this draft and a lightweight speed guy who has a crazy ceiling. And the least he can turn out to be is a really good blocker. Give me Darnell Washington out of Georgia, the 6'7", 265-pound tight end.
see if the Saints draft the tight end, like a lot of our mocks have us picking Dalton Kincaid, but I really want Darnell Washington for the exact reason you said.
If anything, he's just another offensive lineman on who can block and can get out and catch a ball.
I'm on the Chiefs for.
I got short of the pick.
I don't want to be the Chiefs. Fuck the Chiefs. But if I
That's
have
right.
to,
I'm glad.
fuck
Hey, glad we're on the same page here.
we should have won. We got robbed. Anyway,
Trade it. Just trade it to White or Bryce.
I don't want it.
trading. I'm trading. No, I'm trading the 31 pick and Patrick Mahomes for a 7th rounder.
I like
To Philly.
I like your
To Philly.
We can't afford him.
I'm sorry for
Yeah,
sorry for Eagles fans at that point.
We're gonna give him to the Raiders.
No, I don't want him.
Okay.
We'll take him. Fuck Derek Carr.
Why it's kicked off the podcast.
Yeah. As a Chiefs, I'm picking Zay Flowers. Give Patrick Mahomes more weapons. Have somebody that's produced at the college level who has the athleticism to be everyday NFL player. He is short as shit, but it'll be okay.
All right. Well, this is our first round draft for us here. Hydro and Co. Some really good players getting drafted early. Quarterback and corner went like that.
Yeah, quick.
So a lot of value adds for a lot of these teams if they were to pick. A lot of players probably falling farther than they will in real life, like Tyree Wilson. I think guys like Quentin Johnson will go earlier.
But there's always some falls though. That's
Yeah.
a good thing that we had some.
Fucking
John Michael Schmitz.
That's the biggest fucking curveball I've ever seen in my life.
John Michael Schmitz at 12 probably won't happen. It very well could. The Texans could be the Texans, but I will say just real quick before we get off here, what's one draft prospect? Doesn't have to be a first round guy, just in general that you'd like to see wearing your team's jersey in 2023.
I'll start. It's the guy I picked, Joey Porter Jr. That's how much I like him, and we desperately need a corner. We haven't had a good corner since Charles Woodson. So,
All right, Chase, go ahead.
The guy I picked, Christian Gonzalez. It's a tall, lanky son of a bitch that can play corner. So I want him on my
Bryce,
team.
I'm gonna
who
rock.
you got?
I'm gonna rock
We
with
know who it is.
no. It's actually gonna be a slot receiver that I've started watching their game a lot more this past week. He's probably gonna fall to mid to late second round. That's Jonathan Mingo out of Ole Miss, 6'1", 220-pound wide receiver. It's almost like a miniature AJ Brown, is what I've noticed from this film.
All right. I'm gonna throw an absolute fucking curveball here.
Leave it to
We
you
might
to
not
throw
draft-
a fucking curveball.
Yeah. He's projected to go at 56, but I could see him dropping to like the third round. But I kind of hope we pick him in the second to bolster our offensive line a little bit. I think he'd start as a backup, but would have opportunities to start. And that's Cody Mauch out of North Dakota State. Converted tight
I was
end
about to say
and
the
like
former
150.
tight end.
North Dakota State. That's the most
No,
wild school I've ever.
you should
heard
look.
of.
You should look this shit up. He started school at like less than 200 pounds, short hair and teeth. And by senior year, he has a freaking mane down to his shoulders. He's like 310, and he's missing like 2 or 3 teeth. Dude is an absolute unit. Would be badass.
Looks like a
literally
meth head
the
if they
funny
ever
thing.
played football.
Yeah, he really does. And the Saints mock drafts do have him going to us in the middle rounds. So I'm kind of hoping we get him, to be honest, because that would be a player I'd buy a jersey just for the fucking joke of it. Oh, but all right.
Okay, no, real quick. Let's go through everybody's best best pick of the draft, like best value pick, and then biggest reach in our draft.
Well,
We all know we know what the biggest reach is.
Yeah. All right, let's just exclude biggest reach. That belongs to Wyatt at number 12.
I feel like
best value pick of the draft.
I feel like Jordan Addison at 21. It's just fucking insane.
Yeah.
If he gets all the way down to the Chargers at 21, especially with the injury history of Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, I feel like that's a huge addition for them.
I mean,
Or Tyree Wilson
I
at
was
22.
about to say, it's got to be Tyree Wilson at 22. They got that guy not making out of the top 5 in some drafts.
Time out. There is a reach besides that one. Joey Porter Jr. is a reach, but obviously you're pretending to be the Raiders. So Joey Porter Jr. is a definite reach.
Yeah, he's projected mid first round, maybe like early 20s. Yeah, but I like him a lot, and if that is a Raiders pick. So
I mean, it's
I
not
feel
a
like
bad
John
one.
Michael.
no, it ain't a bad one. It would be better if we traded back and then got Joey Porter. It'd make it a lot better.
Now, Chase, would that
I
be
feel
the
like
case?
John Michael is a reach.
Would that be the case for Bijan Robinson? Would you be fine with us trading back and drafting Bijan?
Fuck no.
You just
Fuck
don't
that
want
guy.
Bijan.
We got a running back, bro.
Dude,
We got a
Rashad
future Hall of
Penny.
Fame running back. Rashad Penny is going to do things. He's gonna make us happy.
Until he gets hurt in week 1.
Shut the fuck up. We're not going to put that out there. My biggest value thing, my best value, Tyree Wilson.
Yeah, I was gonna say Tyree Wilson, but to give another one, Paris Johnson Jr. with the Jets would be dirty.
Yeah.
I'm out. I just thought of another reach. The Bills. The Bills should not have drafted a running back.
I don't know, man. They need
a
one.
reach. It's a reach.
I've seen
It's a
him.
reach.
There's a
mock
lot
the
of-
Bills in a lot of mocks.
Back-to-back running backs in the first round. No shot. No
I mean,
shot.
those two
There's also
teams
been
need
a lot of
running
talks
backs.
about Jameer not even making out the first round. Yeah, that a lot of teams value him really high.
Fuck a running back, dude. Give me 3 more years of Boston Scott. I'd be happy.
Dude, John Michael Schmitz is a dog at 12. It's
Have you ever
such
watched
a
this fucking
Texans
film,
move.
Wyatt? I'm just asking you.
I haven't watched this film, but he's
Oh,
a fucking.
my-
I pick. Well, listen to this. Listen to this. You want to know why I like him? Want to know why I like him?
Wow.
So every Madden NFL rebuild that I've done in the last 3 months, I've picked up John Michael Schmitz at some point in the first draft. and dude has turned out to be a stud every time.
Well, we just
So
lost
if Madden
all
tells me
credibility that we ever fucking had.
anything, we never had credibility to begin with.
I have a question for everybody before we go. This video should be out before Thursday. We'll start off with this. Who will be the number 1 pick in the draft?
Go ahead, Wyatt.
And then
I
have a
pick
second
CJ.
question
I
after
pick
this.
Okay, I pick CJ Stroud, but I don't actually think it's going to be CJ Stroud. Like if I was a betting man, I'd probably go with Will Levis.
If you would have asked me yesterday, I would have said CJ Stroud. But you're asking me today. So I'm going to say Bryce Young. I'm going to say
There
that
you
they've thrown
go.
everybody for a curveball. They've thrown everybody for a curveball, getting Will Levis's stock up, and they're going to take Bryce Young.
I've always thought it's going to be Bryce Young. I'm just going to die on that hill. I think he's by far the best quarterback in this draft.
Yeah, so this one's simple. The odds for Will Levis have skyrocketed. He's told his family, he's told his friends, the Panthers are drafting him. It's going to be Will Levis on Thursday night, walking up there first. My second question, however, is who will be the first non-quarterback off the board, and where will they get picked at?
Am I starting again?
Yeah.
I think it's going exactly like that mock is. Will Anderson to the Cardinals at 3. Unless they want to trade back, they need to just pick Will Anderson. They don't need a quarterback right now, and their defensive line's been dog shit for a long time, so might as well start moving in the right direction.
So I think I've sent it in the group that the Raiders don't like where they're at 7. They want to trade, whether that be up or down. I think I sent that in the group. They don't have any preference, but they want to move. So I'm going to say, and we've called the Cardinals multiple times about 3 to try to get CJ Stroud. So I'm going to say that happens. So I think the quarterbacks go top 4: Panthers, Texans. That would be Raiders, Colts. That would be Stroud, Young, Levis, AR in that order. I think they'll be the first 4 picks. So I think the Seahawks will be the first one, and they'll take Will Anderson.
Fuck, what a
Good
move
Lord.
for the Seahawks. Because then they could get like a collegiate Cansey or somebody like that at 20, and they're fucking set on the D line.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to say right now, I would not be shocked if Will Anderson comes off with the number 2 pick in the draft to the Texans.
There's a lot of talks about the Texans not wanting to take a quarterback.
Well, who are they going to throw out there? Fucking
Davis Mills, they're going to rock with him.
Davis
Davis
again?
Mills.
They may try to build a roster and then go try to trade for a quarterback once they think their roster's there, kind of like what the Jets did. Even though they tried to take Zach Wilson, but it didn't work.
Like honestly, if I'm the Texans, and if you're not confident in any of these at the guy, like if you get the 2 and let's say CJ Stroud goes, and you're not confident in the other 3, next year's QB draft class is projected to be so solid. I would just wait.
Yeah.
Suffer for you don't care about the fans as is. The Houston management doesn't care about the fans at all.
Mm-hmm.
So might as well just wait another year, get a solid piece like Will Anderson, and hopefully be shitty enough to draft a Caleb Williams next year.
You know, there's all this talk about this quarterback class not being very good, and yet, me personally, I don't see a way with trades being involved. I don't see a way any of the top 4 quarterbacks make it out of the top 10. They're all going top 10.
Yeah, just because the need's there. There's teams that just don't have anybody at all.
But see, I don't know. I think we could look back on this class like 5 years from now and be like, "Wow, this class was terrible." But I could also see all 4 of these dudes being good because I really don't know about any of them. I don't know about all 4 of them.
I think me personally, I see these. Go ahead, Bryce. I was gonna say with this quarterback class, like the top 4: Stroud, Young, Levis, Richardson. I see at least 2 to maybe even 3 of them being like in 3 years, like a Mac Tua kind of player, where they're like people aren't confident in them.
Yeah,
there's other quarterbacks on the horizon. I think there's going to be one stud in this class, and it's either C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young. I think Anthony Richardson's a dark horse too, but I don't see Will Levis panning out. I don't trust Anthony Richardson unless it's the right system. I think he needs the right. It's all about placement too. Like that's why I like C.J. Stroud in Carolina. I think he could play in that offense and be solid with the piece, with even the lack of pieces.
I honestly think this is best fit might be the Colts. You stick him in that offense.
Yeah. Okay, one more before we go. Sorry. This will be different from all of us. Rank the 4 quarterbacks based off of your confidence that they're going to be a good NFL quarterback.
I'll go
Because
first.
this may be different for all of us.
To me, it goes Bryce Young, Will Levis, C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson. But Anthony Richardson has the potential to be the number one.
Yeah.
I'm going Bryce 1, CJ 2, Will 3, Anthony 4.
I'm going C.J. Stroud at 1, Will Levis 2, Bryce Young 3, AR 4.
All right. Here we go. Ready for
Grand
ride?
Finale. Grand finale.
AR-15.
Okay. I like it. I actually like that.
Will Levis.
Oh my God.
C.J. Stroud.
What?
Bryce Young.
Damn.
See,
You're right. They're all different.
I told you.
Hey, I got one last quick question. Like, can quarterbacks wear 15?
Patrick Mahomes wears 15 as we speak.
Good God. Why?
Okay, so here's a funny thing. If Anthony Richardson wears 15, if I'm Austin Reeves, I'm suing his ass. Fucking for infringement. He's the OG AR-15. Anthony Richardson does not need to wear 15 wherever he goes.
Dude.
Because Austin Reeves is the OG AR-15.
Dude, baseball's on, bro. Don't do this. Don't bring up basketball, bro. Baseball's on.
All right. Well, I think that's the end of the episode. Unless you guys have anything else you want to talk about. Yeah. We'll share this mock draft. Make sure to get a picture of this, Kendall. We'll share this on social media. You can tear it apart if you want to. You can call us idiots if you want to, or you might think we're a genius. Houston Texan fans, I know you're loving the Bryce Young, John Michael Schmitz combo. So just let us know in the comments about how much you love the center out of Minnesota. But with that being said, we'll see y'all on the next episode. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. We'll see y'all next week.
Go Birds.
Raider Nation.
Go
Go Saints,
dude.
baby.
Go Birds.